Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by. First off, I want to say thanks for all the support on my last you-related video, which was my review on the fourth book, For You and Only You, which was made possible by the author Caroline Kepnes sending me an early copy. So thanks again to Caroline, and thank you all for giving that video the results that it got. I'm loving all the engagement. Let's keep it up. If you haven't seen that video, you can find it in the end screen once you're done watching this video, or you can click the link in the description. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different. Usually my U videos are fandom edits, and another one of my recent ones was a theory. This video was inspired by a dialogue I had on Reddit. I don't consider myself a Redditor. The U subreddit is basically the only one that contributes from time to time, and it's where mostly all of my upvotes come from. But every now and then, the topics that come up about the things I'm deeply connected to or passionate about does stay with me after those rare visits to the site. On April 18th, 2023, I made a post on the subreddit for you titled, "What are your thoughts on Beck's reasonings for cheating on Joe with Dr. Nicky?" For those who don't vividly remember Beck's reasonings, here's a clip.
Joe. I've never loved anyone the way that I love you. And I didn't know what to do with that because I didn't think that I could have it or keep it.
Basically, what I was wondering was, did anyone find Beck's reasons understandable? She's actually one of the most relatable characters on the show, and a mirror image of something that's common in today's world, which always makes season 1 feel so close to home. My opinion was that there are people in the world who are just a mess, and they know they are a mess, and they may even know why they are a mess and what steps they can take to not be a mess any longer, but won't. And I think Beck is one of those people. These types of individuals tend to always circle back to their unhealthy patterns and remain unhappy and unsatisfied, and will simply never do anything to head in the right direction. In Beck's case, it holds a lot more weight to it because it's almost like she's embracing the things holding her back. She always went back to Benji and invited in guys that were very similar, knowing that they're unhealthy, while stringing Joe along and taking her precious time with him, not to mention playing games and cheating. If that sounds backwards, that's because it is. A person who is healthy, normal, and healed would acknowledge that one person is better for their well-being and act accordingly. But Beck didn't, and it's like she didn't want to be happy, like she wasn't ready for it. This is important because it's a key factor in how the show goes. This influences Beck's decisions, which then plays a part in how Joe acts in order to get Beck where he wants her. Now, I want to establish that I am obviously aware that Joe is a very unorthodox person and isn't to be excused for his actions, but Beck didn't learn this until the very end of the season. So, for the purpose of this video, let's pretend Joe is a normal guy who doesn't kidnap or murder. Anywho, when you're an adult and you make bad decisions, you typically have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. Sometimes you get lucky and don't. Sometimes the consequences aren't bad enough for you to avoid repeating that decision going forward, or in some cases, the consequences are long-term and therefore aren't clear in the moment in which you're making that decision, which could be part of why Beck never really improved until Joe showed her how to. And that's one thing on its own, but the significance here is that when it comes to relationships, you aren't just affecting yourself, you're also affecting your partner, your friend, your family, anyone who's a part of that relationship. It's also different for each type of relationship, but in this case, we're talking about a romantic relationship between one person and their significant other. And I think that has a different type of gravity to it, because friendships last through more, and relationships survive through less, and can have a more long-term impact on someone when it doesn't work out. That's more subjective though. If you think otherwise, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So now let's talk about how this parlays into the overall lesson I discovered while having this conversation. I also asked a very great question regarding the significance of how Beck did or did not empower herself to learn healthier patterns of behavior, which was, how does that matter? Why does it matter? A lot of people go through life repeating patterns that aren't the best themselves. It's not unheard of. We all do things that aren't best for us, and we continue doing it, whether it has drawbacks or not. And it can take us a long time to finally cut ties from what's holding us back. And the same person who asked that question said that it takes time and perspective in addition to awareness. Self awareness being the part of it that Beck already had, which is part of why I have such mixed feelings about Beck, because it's different when you don't realize that you are your own problem. The answer to the question is that the significance, to me, is that Beck was obviously miserable, unhappy, and wanted to do better. Self awareness is key, so it should have been the thing guiding her towards her goal in order to get better. But it didn't, because as mentioned, she wasn't ready to be happy. If she was, then she would have been able to at least help herself enough to do the groundwork. And when you don't strive to do better, you are not only not helping yourself, but you do the opposite of help those around you. This is why I bring up how things can have an effect on other people, especially in relationships. She did things that were bad for her and did things that were worse for her partner by cheating. Joe suffered because of that. Again, I know that Joe isn't actually a normal nice guy, but Beck didn't know that. As far as she knew, Joe was one of the only decent people left in her life, and there she was doing the one thing that would break his heart. Her dysfunction hurts her, and then hurts others. When I'm dating someone, I don't want to be some pawn meant to help them figure themselves out on the off chance that they'll want the same things I want in the end. I want them to know who they are, know what they want, and how to function properly in a relationship dynamic between two healthy people. This is why we tell people to focus on themselves and love themselves before loving others. Beck shows us how things will end up going when you don't. In the end, they ruin it for both parties because they didn't have it together. As for why I'm making a YouTube video highlighting this, I actually struggle to understand this saying, and I'm not entirely sure why. I never believed that it was impossible to love someone else when you don't love yourself as much. I never understood the idea behind, oh, well, before you can put time into others, you must first put time and value into yourself. I always had faith in my ability to recognize what it means to be a good partner for that other person, in spite of lacking in other areas of my life that need more work. And that can still be the case, but the principle here is that when you don't have love within yourself, you can wind up doing things that don't exhibit love, which can affect you and your partner in a negative way, which can then ruin the relationship as a result. Basically, more people are hurt in the end when you don't love yourself first than when you do. And chances are, people who don't know how to show up for themselves don't know how to show up for other people unless your love life is a part of your life that you've worked on to the point of having this ability there that it takes to overcome being less healed. And that's why I'm making this video, to get that message out there for people who either resonate with it or were curious of how situations like this present themselves, since we hear about it all the time. Hopefully, some of you took something from it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're a fan of You on Netflix, I do intend to make more videos on it, so please tune in and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, goodbye.